Hi everyone, I'm Josh with Northern Frogger, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try to do kind of a vlog style format for this one. I've been looking for a way to kind of get more content out to you guys, and the idea would be that a vlog style video would be kind of more raw, less scripted, and less editing. Hopefully make it kind of easier and faster to just kind of get videos out on a more regular basis. And the concept would just be to kind of cover like the day-to-day tasks, looking after the frog room here. It'd also be a way to kind of keep you guys more up to date with what's going on. I could also cover some smaller topics that it might be hard to do a full dedicated video about. And I could just kind of talk about my experiences looking after dart frogs, as well as maybe give you some behind the scenes footage of like vivarium builds and stuff like that. So the plan is to just kind of film around the frog room for the next week or so. Hopefully at the end I have enough to make an interesting video out of it. And if it goes well, I'll hopefully make it a regular thing. So let me know down in the comments what you think of this video and the concept in general, and if you'd like to see more, as well as if you have any specific suggestions for content that you'd like to see in kind of a vlog style format. But for starters today, I'm going to do one of the most common tasks that I have to do around the frog room, and that is to feed the dart frogs. Alright, so to feed dart frogs, I use flightless fruit flies, cultured in these deli cups here. I culture two main types of flightless fruit flies, the melanogaster and the Heidii. The melanogaster are smaller, and I feed those to juvenile frogs and my thumbnails, and the Heidii is a bigger fly, and I feed those to all of my adult dendrobates. So feeding them is actually pretty easy. For starters, I recommend that you dust with a calcium and vitamin supplement with every feeding. I rotate through different supplements, but for this one I'm using the Repashy Calcium Plus. So I'll use an empty deli cup like this, sprinkle a little bit of powder into the bottom, and then to get the flies out, I'll kind of tap it to knock them away from the top, peel up one side, tilt the cup over, and then tap it again. And an amount like this of the Heidii was probably good for a pair of adult Tinctorius, or maybe 3 or 4 Auratus or Lukes. So once the flies are shaken up in the powder, it's just a matter of dumping them into the tank. I just cleaned the glass on this tank, so opening the door, these powder blue Tinctorius know they're about to get fed, so they're waiting right at the front here. Just dump them in there like that, and repeat until all the frogs are fed. Alright, I got most of the frogs fed. I was actually a little low on cultures because I just sold a few, so I didn't quite get to feed all of them today. But that's alright, the cultures will be kind of replenished by tomorrow, and I'll finish off the ones I didn't get to today. They're normally pretty well fed, so it really doesn't hurt them to go an extra day between feedings every now and then. But now that that's over, the next thing on the agenda today is to feed my Springtail cultures. Alright, so these are my Springtail cultures here. I've got 2 different types going right now. These ones are all the calcium bearing clay, and these ones are just basic, like I think it's the Reptibark, like fur bark pieces, just in these little deli cups. And then I feed them. This is actually a specific Springtail food mix from Jungle Jewel Exotics in Calgary. So basically all I'm going to do is go through these one at a time, pop the lid off and inspect it, see how it's going, make sure there's no mites in there. If it seems a little dry, I've got my mister here. I can give a little spritz and then just a little sprinkle of food, and I do that. Try to do that about twice a week to feed these guys. As far as actual Springtail production, I haven't really noticed much of a difference between the 2 types. I'd say they're about on par in terms of yields. The biggest advantage with the calcium bearing clay is that you can dry harvest the Springtails, where these ones have a little bit of water in the bottom, so it's hard to get the Springtails without also getting some water. And that makes it hard to use supplements like calcium or vitamin powders. But with the dry harvest method, it's a lot easier to do those supplements. Alright, one more thing I wanted to show you today. I've got a bunch of froglets ready to be moved out of these morphing cups into a grow-out tank, so I'm going to do that today. I raise tadpoles in little cups mostly, so once I notice tadpoles get front legs, I will move them into these angled deli cups here, and that gives them a nice slope to crawl out of the water when they're ready. And once I notice them hanging out on the sides here a lot like they are, and their tail is all absorbed, I will take them out of here and put them into a grow-out tank. And for grow-out tanks, I use these 5-gallon and 10-gallon aquariums. Basically we just cocoa husk and sphagnum moss on the bottom to hold humidity. And I wouldn't recommend that for long-term setups, but because these ones are getting cleaned and changed out fairly frequently, it works for this purpose. Alright, I've actually got one more thing to show you today. I've got to finish these fly cultures. I mixed up the medium yesterday and left it overnight to cool. Then I put the Aspen Excelsior in, and now I need to seed them with some flies. So I've got some other cultures that are already producing. And I just knock about 50 flies into one of these. And that's good to go. I'm going to be starting 4 Heidi and 5 melanogaster cultures today. And when I'm done, I will write the type and the date the culture was started on the lid. M's for melanogaster and H for Heidi. And then in 2 weeks for the melanogaster and about 3 weeks for the Heidi, we'll have freshly producing cultures. Alright guys, it's the next day. Not too much going on in the frog room today, but I do have to feed out some crickets to my geckos and to my smooth-sided toad. So I'll do that, and I also have to do some tadpole stuff. I'm going to go through and check them and feed them, so I'll show you how I do that. I've gone through and kind of rough edited all the footage from yesterday already, and it's already a good 5-6 minutes of content, which is more than I was kind of expecting. So that's pretty good. We'll do this and see how much this takes up. I might just release this video as it is. And remember, the point of these vlog style videos is to just kind of get more content out more frequently. So they're definitely going to be a little bit more raw, a little bit more informal. With a lot of the other videos like the vivarium builds and stuff, it can take quite a bit of time and effort to kind of get everything to come together. It's usually a few weeks worth of building and filming everything, and then the editing process takes quite a bit of time as well. And I do still want to do those type of videos too with the higher production quality, but again, just to try to get more content out to you guys. I think these vlog style ones might work. I'm a little bit worried about it getting repetitive after a few weeks. There's only so much that goes on in the frog room. I don't know how many times I can show like feeding the frogs or whatever before it starts to get old, but I guess we'll see how it goes and cross that bridge when it comes to it. But again, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. And if there's anything that you've seen in this video that you think would be worth making a full video about, let me know that too, because I could definitely look into that. But I am kind of excited about it, just to be able to kind of show you guys more what the kind of behind the scenes, day-to-day process of looking after this many dart frogs and other pets looks like. So I just picked up some new crickets today. I usually get more than these, but they were actually pretty low at the pet store today. So again, I usually dust all my insects with every feeding using the Rapacium Calcium Plus again. I really like this stuff because it just works for almost everything. I use it for my geckos, use it for my smooth-sided toad and the frogs, basically all my animals. I do also use some additional stuff, like I use the vitamin A for the dart frogs once or twice a month as well, but this is a really good kind of all-round supplement. I always like to have some of this on hand. So to feed these geckos, shake a bunch of crickets out into this cup here, shake them up in the calcium powder really well. So then we'll dump the crickets in and let the geckos hunt them down. And next up, we'll feed the smooth-sided toad. Alright, so this is Anthony Hopkins, my smooth-sided toad. We'll dump in some crickets for him. Won't give him all of them right now, we'll see how he does with these ones. I do like to feed him in a separate container, just because when I feed him in his tank, I find that he ends up ingesting quite a bit of the substrate. And it is like the fine coconut fiber, so we should be able to pass it, but I just really don't want him to get impacted, so I find it's easier to just pull him out into a separate tub and feed him like this. And I have a few small mealworms right now. I might try to feed him as well. And sometimes it takes a while for him to finish them all off, so I'm actually just going to put the lid back on here so the crickets can't escape, and just kind of set him aside for 15-20 minutes, and however many he eats in that time will be good enough, I think. Alright, Hopkins had a good feeding here. He cleaned out most of the crickets there. I also let him back into his cage. I was going to go over some tadpole stuff tonight too, but I'm kind of running out of time here. As you can see behind me, the lights just went out. I could turn the timer back on, but I don't really like to mess with it too much. I like to try and keep them on the same schedule as much as possible. But there's quite a bit of tadpole stuff to cover anyway. And this video is probably going to be long enough, so I think I'm just going to try to edit this stuff down tonight so I can release it in the morning. And the tadpole stuff will come in the next video, along with I think some construction stuff. I'm actually going to be building some new stand things that go over top of the stands that are already here, just to kind of put another layer on there so I can store all of this stuff a little better, as well as some other stuff. There's going to be a bit of rearranging of a lot of the stands and stuff here coming up pretty soon, but all of that stuff should be coming in these kind of vlog style videos. Again, I know it's a little bit raw, a little bit rough around the edges, but it's always going to be kind of a trade-off between having really polished videos and just getting more content out. So I'll try to find a balance here, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at northernfrogger. And if you're in Canada and you're interested in purchasing froglets or plants even, send me an email at northernfrogger@gmail.com for a current availability list. But other than that, have a great day guys, and until next time, happy frogging.